We are farmers.
Bum,
Bum,
ba-da,
ba-da,
ba, 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 bum.
How do we even get past that?
I mean, that's it. Show's over.
Show is over.
See you next week, everyone.
Welcome to podcast in this. Oh fuck.
Welcome to Podcast News. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Podcast in the Sky with Diamonds with me, Andrew, Meg, and Mike, here to talk to you about music and other fun things.
With me, Andrew. I love it.
Hiya guys, it's me, Andrew. Welcome to Podcast in the Sky with Diamonds. My name is Andrew Turbisi. I am joined here by my co-hosts Meg Muse and Mike Mueller.
Am I from Wisconsin?
Today we are going to be talking about Russian butt stuff.
What?
It sounds like a really bad Christopher Walken.
Sounds like a really good Christopher Walken.
It's like an okay Christopher Walken.
So Joji's coming to Boston on Sunday.
Who's that?
You've never listened to Joji?
Nope.
Do you remember, have you ever watched Filthy Frank on YouTube?
Oh, is that the fucking band you guys were all talking about in the chat the other day?
Yeah, he makes music and it's baller.
Yo, by the way, I can't make your party next. Is it this weekend or next weekend?
I don't even know.
Are you talking about your
Whoa.
Halloween party?
I can't make
No.
it either weekend because I just can't.
Okay, that's okay. Ugh.
On today's episode of Podcast in the Sky with Diamonds, we discuss why the Shrek soundtracks are the best movie soundtracks of all time. Do you hear that weird pause after I stop talking?
Mm-hmm.
It just gets really quiet in here. It's very peculiar.
We were just in awe of your buttery voice.
Yes.
I am sitting in a room. The walls are yellow and spongy, like a Twinkie, like a Twinkie. That's a Family Guy. That's a great. It's them trying to impersonate Morgan Freeman having a podcast
Oh my
I
God.
thought it was him just doing voice work.
or
It was-
voice work. Yeah, maybe. But he's sitting in front of a mic like this, talking, and that's what he says.
Yep.
I forget the rest of the quote, but it's Family Guy's a riot. I watched an episode of Family Guy the other night, and it was about Taylor Swift and going to a high school dance with Chris, and they fell in love, and it was a riot. And she wrote a song about him being the most disgusting piece of shit fat person. And like they went to the Taylor Swift concert, and she fell in love with Chris, so she sang a new song that she wrote about being in love with Chris, and all the fans were like booing her. And then one of the fans was like, "We only like you when you're pathetic." And I was like, "That's a riot."
Oh my
That's so
God.
funny.
I mean, I don't like Taylor Swift to begin with.
Oh, I
so
love her. I love her.
I'm here for
That's
it.
like a guilty pleasure for me. I'm a
T Swift?
huge T Swift guy.
I can
Big
see it.
fan.
I can see it.
Big fan. The Red Album fucked me up.
Did it?
Fucked me up.
Reminds me of John.
John. Oh, John Clausen.
I thought you were going to talk about John Mayer,
I mean,
former ex-boyfriend of Taylor Swift.
also John
also,
Mayer.
Also my father. I fucking love John Mayer.
See his
Wouldn't
post
it just
today?
be ex-boyfriend, not former ex-boyfriend? I think that's like a double negative that would insinuate they're dating again.
It's her former ex-boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're someone's former ex, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a double negative.
It is a double
It
negative.
is a double negative.
That's like if you like you're asking what a double negative is. It's like if
No.
essentially.
I know what a double negative is.
Oh.
I'm saying I am agreeing with you. It's a double
Oh.
negative.
Okay.
But please explain to everyone here what a double negative is, just in case.
I don't even know how to describe this. Two like things that kind of like bring you back to like where you don't want to
So
be.
basically
I don't
two
know.
negatives.
Yes, it's two negatives that make a positive. It's like making two left turns, sort of thing.
Two wrongs don't make
Two
a
left
right.
two left turns make a right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Left,
Left.
and then left. It's like going backwards.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, but I saw John Mayer. You saw that, right?
His post about the Mac Miller concert?
No, his fucking
Oh.
Instagram live last, or maybe it was 2 nights ago.
Oh, no.
He fucking gets on. He was like on Instagram stories all day saying he was going to do a show on Instagram Live. Which, if you've never seen John Mayer's Instagram stories, it's a fucking you'll have
yeah.
a field day. It's
Yeah, he's
it's the
amazing.
greatest thing to ever happen to the internet.
Straight meme daddy.
And he was straight meme daddy, 100% meme daddy. He's the meme overlord. like the
Hashtag
king of
meme
memes.
daddy.
And so he was like talking on his Instagram stories all day about like setting up for his Instagram live story, and then I get the notification. So I was like in there immediately. And it was fucking John Mayer, and he was sitting in front of a wall, and it had puppies and kittens and then rainbows. And I took a screenshot and I tweeted. I said, "John Mayer is the greatest human being alive. I need to get high ASAP."
I
Look
saw
at
that.
Did you see that
yeah,
tweet?
I saw your tweet.
I felt like I really needed to be high for that.
Yo, I saw your tweet, and I was also laying in my bed, and I had just eaten an edible a few hours beforehand. So
That'll do it to you.
I was just sitting there, and I was like, like just like silently laughing at your tweet. I was super baked last night.
The edible pots.
I didn't see it because I don't have a Twitter.
It's okay,
Oh,
Andrew.
yeah.
This is why you have us. We keep you up to date.
Exactly.
Twitter is the greatest place on the internet. 100%.
It's pretty good.
I love it.
He's like,
I've met a ton of my friends through Twitter. That's how much I love it.
I've gotten a lot of networking done through Twitter for
A lot
the
of
podcast,
networking.
so
A lot of
that's really good.
networks. A lot of networks. Well,
Speaking of the podcast, welcome back to Podcast in the Sky with Diamonds.
what's going on?
Hi.
Today's episode will feature our favorite movie soundtracks.
Yeah, this is a big one. This is the first real fan engagement we've gotten for an episode yet.
Yes.
So we
And,
had
like, it was a real fan engagement.
a lot of fucking people blow up my social media.
Mike
Over this
blasted it
episode.
everywhere. Instagram,
So
Twitter.
we're going to give everyone shout outs, which is why everyone's probably listening to this episode.
Probably.
But welcome. If you haven't listened to any of our other episodes, you're fucking ridiculous. Listen to them. Go back. Turn back now. Turn around.
Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers ahead.
It's going to be good.
Our last episode was cool, though. We talked about just different stuff going on in the world of music. So that was a real fun one. But I'm excited to get into the movie soundtracks today because obviously everyone came here to hear about the Shrek soundtracks.
Of course.
Obviously.
They are the greatest masterpieces of any soundtrack, any of all time. I don't
course.
care. Please at me.
But before we get into that, Mike and I saw a few shows
Yeah.
this past week.
The Adventures of Mike and Meg happened last week.
Yes,
we went to
lots of times.
We went to a few concerts. One of which I decided to go to on my way home from work. I was
Last
like, yeah,
minute.
fuck it, I'm gonna go to a concert.
Yep, he called me while I was walking through the Boston Commons.
So I think we talked about this on a previous episode, but Meg loves the band Mount Joy.
Love him.
If you haven't listened to them, look them up on Spotify. They're incredible. They have a song "Sheep" that will literally blow you away. It's
Cheap,
incredible.
Silver Linings.
Silver Linings,
Jenny
great
Jenkins.
song. Yep, they're all good
Basically,
songs.
their whole album is pretty much amazing.
And Meg was telling me how much I'd like them, and I ended up looking them up, and I fucking love them. That song "Sheep" it like blows me away every time. And so
It's one
she was
of
bugging me to get tickets for weeks, and then I didn't because naturally.
because he did.
And I'm on my way home, and I'm listening to "Sheep." I'm like, I need to go to this fight. I didn't have anything to do that night, and I was gonna have a low key night, and I was like, YOLO.
YOLO.
You only live once. For those of you youngins that don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So I had to go. So I called Meg. I was like, yo, are tickets still on sale? And she was like, yeah, sure. And then she got me one at the box office. And then I went home, changed, and went out. We also met the most incredible group of individuals at this show.
Shout out to every single one of them, Alex, Cameron, Ariel, and Jordan, for being the best squad that Mike, myself, and my friend Allie could ever ask for.
Yeah, so like I got to the concert and Meg gave me a hug. She was like, we already have a group of friends. I was like, sick. Like, this is my kind of environment. And I walked up to them, gave Jordan this big hug because he's a bro. And I was just like, it was awesome. It was really cool. I love that about concerts. You can
Yeah.
just meet people and y'all share this bond about something. But they were dope people.
Oh my God.
But I
they're
am
so great.
literally 6 years older than everyone. They're all 20.
Yeah, they're all.
And I was like, oh, how old are you guys? You're like 23, right?
Yeah.
No, we're 20. And I was like, I feel like a
Oh.
father right now.
Yeah, they're little bibs. We have a group Snapchat
Yeah.
called Mount Joy Made Us Family.
Oh, it's so cute.
It's really wholesome. So Mount Joy totally fucked that night.
They were so good.
We were right up against the stage. We were basically in this like little huddle together, just like having our arms up in the air together, hugging
was-
each other the whole
that
time.
was dope.
It was a really cool experience. Their opener Arlie, it's Charlie but without the ch.
Charlie without the ch.
Mike had a very romantic experience with their bassist.
Yeah, we had a very, I don't know what to call it, a very heterosexual, sexual thing
Yes.
going on the whole time.
It's like a Nicholas Sparks novel. For
It
a second.
was, but
The term is
completely
bromance, I believe.
completely heterosexual, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
We just had this bro thing going on. Like, this dude is a great bass guitarist,
Oh
right?
my God.
Great bass guitarist. His name's Ryan Savage from the band Arlie. Shout out to him. I fucking love you, dude. I fucking love you. I fucking love you. And this dude, I was just like fucking vibing with him all night. I probably didn't watch the rest of the band for a total of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
which their keyboardist is the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes
Oh
on.
yeah.
She's awesome. Shout out to her. But Ryan and I, we clicked. We had something.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were jamming with him all night. I kept pointing at him. He was like doing like little bass licks for me. It was dope. And then they ended the show, and I literally screamed, "I fucking love you!" And then he looked at me dead in the eyes. He pointed me out, and he goes, "I fucking love you too."
Yep.
And it was amazing. And then they're obviously a small band opening for Mountjoy, and so they didn't have really a crew to help them clean up the stage. So they were still on the stage cleaning up their stuff. And I kept like yelling at him. We kept yelling back and forth at each other, and then I was like, "Fuck it, what do you want to drink?" And he was like, "I don't care, whatever you're drinking." I'm like, "You really don't care?" And then ended up like I was gonna get a PBR, so he was like, "I'll get a PBR. That's cool."
Yeah.
So
The drink of any good show.
I went and got him a PBR and stood like a fucking idiot at the merch table until Mountjoy went on with his beer, and he's not there, and the whole band came over to the merch table. And they're like, "We don't know where the fuck he is." And then after the Mountjoy show, we got to meet Mountjoy, which was fucking awesome.
Oh my God.
They were dope.
shell-shocked.
Really cool guys.
They had to push me towards Matt, their lead singer, because I was like, "Oh, I am not worthy of this."
Just really cool dudes.
Yeah, I got to talk to Matt, and I got to talk to Sam, which is their lead guitarist, and they're both amazing, super down to earth people. I can't wait.
Yeah.
To talk.
So
to
we
them
talked to
some
them
more.
about the podcast and just some different stuff. I mean, I love that we have this platform now that we can
Oh,
push,
yeah.
and it's just a really cool way to connect with musicians, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, so then I ended up waiting around, and he went out for dinner with his mom and his sister after the show. This bassist guy, and he came back after the Mountjoy set, and he was like, "Where's Mike Miller?"
Yelling across.
He
the
like
stage.
ran through the crowd, was like, "Where's Mike Miller?" And we just gave each other this giant embrace, and it was amazing.
There was sparks in
Then
the
we
air.
were talking for a while. I was touching his face a little bit. It's getting a little romantic. It was awesome.
Super sweet.
It was awesome. He was a really cool guy. But we're gonna, very excitingly, we're gonna end up having them on the podcast.
Yep.
Within the next few months. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting. They're coming back in November for a tour date up here in Boston. So we're hoping we can schedule it in the day that they're here.
Yeah,
So
that would be
we're gonna figure it
ideal.
out.
Yeah, definitely.
But shout out to Arlie. You guys fucking rock.
Yeah. Other people coming on the show. I put out a little tidbit 2 weeks ago when we heard back from him, but musician Brent Cowles, who was the opener for the Sheepdogs, to the show that Andrew and I saw in Boston in July,
Yes.
got back to us a few weeks ago. He is officially coming on the show October 22nd. So
Hell yeah.
about a week after we interview with him, we'll put that episode out, and he's amazing. If you want to check him out, he's on Spotify. I'm pretty sure he's on Apple too. His latest album is called How to Be Okay Alone. It's beautiful. It's an absolute masterpiece. He's from Colorado. It's kind of like a indie folk sort of thing he's got going on. I don't want to give away too much because I want you guys to actually listen to him, but he's coming
Which
on.
you should.
And it's very exciting. He's been featured on NPR, VH1, so he's like a pretty big deal. So we're really excited to have him on.
Up and coming, and he's the first one. So we're very excited to have him.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
the first one. So
I'm
he's really
really,
setting
really
the
pumped for
stage,
that.
setting the bar high.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
And so that was Wednesday night of last week. We saw Mountjoy and Arlie.
I was at
Yes.
work, so I was watching all this unfold on Snapchat the next morning when I
Yes.
was eating my breakfast.
Andrew was watching on Snapchat. And then Thursday, my best friend Nick and the guitarist from his band, Mount Pleasant, which they're great. They're a local band from Drake, Massachusetts. Nick is one of my best friends in the world. I met him at a concert. And his band, Mount Pleasant, they're fantastic. They have an album out called The Great Divide on Spotify. You should definitely check it out. It's on a lot of streaming platforms, but I'm a big Spotify guy, so I'm just going to say Spotify. So Nick and his guitarist, Tyler Mahoney, from Mount Pleasant, they played an acoustic show for Radio 92.9 here in Boston.
They were amazing.
Alt 92.9, as they're now called. Shout out to them and Amy Brooks. You fucking rock. But they played a show at the Lawn on D in Boston, an
Super
acoustic
fun
show,
night.
and it was really cool, sponsored by Radio 92.9, and it was really, really cool setting. They played some awesome songs. They played a lot of their originals, did a few awesome covers.
Did some
and
Tom
we had
Petty at the end.
Yep. And we had a friggin' blast. We were
Oh, yeah.
dancing, and it was a good time.
Jamming together. It was super fun. Jordan from our new little Mountjoy crew came with us.
He came with
too.
us. Yep. Yep. Shout out to Jordan. You fucking rule. But yeah, we had a really good week. We did a couple shows and just kind of was all about the music last week. So it
We
was,
had a lot
Absolutely.
of time. It was really good bonding time. I was fucking exhausted. That's why
yeah,
I'm
it was
like,
very
As you
tiring.
should be.
Very
so
tiring
I've been
week.
sick this weekend because I
Yeah.
had those 2 shows and then I worked doubles and now I'm like, I'm sure you all can hear it in my voice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super congested.
I mean, I was
Super.
Just,
so if you hear me coughing or clearing my throat, I apologize.
Mm.
you know, 'tis the cold season up here. So, you know, if any of the fans want to like mail us tea or cough drops or shit, go right ahead.
At Halls, please sponsor
At-
us.
Please.
Yeah, so that's some new updates
The
from
Adventures of Mike and Meg.
Adventures of Mike and Meg and what's to be expected coming from the podcast. Brent's the first of very many interviews we're going to be doing over the next few months.
And Nick and Tyler from Mount Pleasant are going to be on the show pretty soon too.
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
we're excited to have them on.
Arlie will hopefully be here in November, and then Mount Joy is coming in the spring. So Meg will be on the floor crying. All good things.
It's gonna be a
There
good
will be
time.
photographic evidence.
There will be photographic evidence.
Many good times. We're starting to take off. But let's get to the main event
do
because we got a lot to talk about tonight.
We do.
Yes.
Movie
Yep.
soundtracks. So let's get back to. Well, circling back, we had so much response on social media that it's going to be a very long shout out. So we're going to save all the shout outs
To
to
the
everyone
end.
until the end, but we will read off everyone's suggestions throughout the podcast here. I have a list of all the suggestions we got. And shout out to everyone for doing that. I literally thought I was going to get 3 responses, and we got
Like a lot more.
39,
That's almost at least 10 times
38,
more.
39, I think.
Yeah, big
Crazy.
thanks to everybody. I was seeing them all liking because you posted it from our podcast Twitter, and my phone was kept blowing up, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't expect us to get such a big response. So
It was awesome.
I'm really
So-
impressed. Awesome. Thanks you guys so much.
So thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone, and I hope you listen. And I'm gonna, when we release this episode, I'm gonna tag everyone that responded to us as a thank you. So if you can listen to this episode, we'd really appreciate it, and tell all your friends because
Then tell them to suggest stuff so we can shout them out. Then before you know, we're just gonna have a giant fucking list to read at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
so more to come on the suggestions box. We're gonna
Yes.
try to fit this into pretty much every episode because I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But we got a lot of movie soundtracks to talk about. So I think how we're gonna do this, if I understand this correctly, we each came up with our own favorite movie soundtracks that we really want to talk about. Because
Yes.
some of them, I mean, from the list, we just compared lists a little while ago.
Yeah.
Some of them are movies that may be a little bit more obscure that you wouldn't know, and some of them are like the big ones that everyone was suggesting. So I think we got a good. I definitely have a couple that I know or not. No one suggested, so I think it'll be.
It'll
I
be
know
good.
I have at least one, maybe 2.
Yeah,
Because
I think.
didn't look at the big list.
Yeah.
It'll
Either
be a
one.
good little. It'll be a good little time here. So
Holy shit.
yeah. I just handed Andrew
Yeah.
the list, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And that's everyone's
Multiple-
names.
Oh, okay. I
Look at
thought
it.
that was.
No, that's everyone's names, and then the
Okay.
first sheet is all of the movies that were
Oh,
suggested.
okay. I thought this. I looked really quick and I thought it was 2 pages of stuff. I was like, Jesus Christ.
No.
No, we're not that popular yet.
We're not that popular. And some of them that are on the main list, we're also going to be talking about more intimately, just because they're our own favorites. So it'll be
I see a
good.
couple of the ones I put on my list on the big list now.
Yeah. So that's
Great,
what
great minds think
I.
alike.
It's a good mix. We
Yeah.
got a good mix for sure. So I guess let's just do a toss up here. Let's start talking about movies.
Just jump
Yes.
right the fuck into it.
I think I do need to give one major shout out to begin this episode. My boss Donna, we were talking one day. I was telling her about the podcast. She was like, "You know what you should do?" She was like, "Have you ever seen the movie Baby Driver?" Which is a big suggestion. We got a lot of Baby Driver, and I know Andrew's going to talk a little bit about Baby Driver maybe at some point. Oh no,
No,
you're not.
I've never
You're
seen
not.
Baby
You've never
Driver.
seen Baby Driver.
I don't
That's
think
right.
any of us have seen Baby
I have
Driver.
never. Yeah, okay. We've never seen Baby Driver. I thought we were.
Nope.
Ignore me. I
Talking
was
about
high.
different movie that I'll talk about that's not on the list. Remember, because you're like, wait, have I seen that movie? Have I seen the movie? Is it this movie?
That's okay. Okay. All right. We're getting a lot of movies flying around here.
A lot of
But
movies.
my boss Donna and I were talking at work, and she was like, "You should do an episode about movie soundtracks." And I was like, "Oh my!" I was like freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, I already know a bunch." And like her and I were like googling the best movie soundtracks of all time, and we were like listening to songs. It was really cool.
Hell
So
yeah.
shout out to my boss Donna. Thank you for inspiring this episode. You are awesome.
Love you,
Best boss
Donna.
ever.
Thanks, Donna.
So I mean, let's start tossing some out. I mean, I know, my favorite movie soundtrack of all time, and this is gonna sound very lame, my very, very favorite movie soundtrack of all time is the Shrek soundtracks. And I said at the beginning of the episode, I stand by it. They're the greatest movie sound. I mean, they're awesome, and the cast picks one song from the album to do a cast song too, and I just think it's so cool.
Shrek 2 with Antonio Banderas.
But so
Banger.
there's what I want to talk about though. The Shrek soundtracks, just 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Strictly
just 1 and
Shrek
2.
soundtracks, strictly 1 and 2.
No offense, Shrek should have ended after Shrek 2, but they gotta beat it like a dead horse, just like they did with
Everything.
Despicable Me and all that
Shrek
bullshit.
3, I will say, was good solely because of the references to the real worlds they made in the movie.
Yes.
Like, progressively as the movies got on, they made more like funny puns about stuff happening in the world. Like,
What was the plot to Shrek 3? I don't know if I remember exactly. Is that the one where he like wishes?
they have the babies in Shrek 3.
Is that the one where he gets tired of having a family and he's like, I wish I could be an ogre again? He
That's
makes a deal with Rumpelstiltskin.
That's Shrek 4.
Jesus Christ.
And
Such-
it's like an alternate universe, like him and Fiona never got together
Yes.
type of bullshit. Yeah. I saw
Then
that
it's-
one once, and I was
then
like,
is Shrek.
no.
No, which one? Is Shrek 3 the one where he like
Shrek-
becomes a human?
Shrek 3 is the one where I think she has the kids.
Shrek 2 is the one where he becomes a human, remember? Because he drinks the
No.
potion from the fairy
It's the
godmother.
Yeah, I
marriage.
remember that's a thing.
So they go to far, far away.
They're married. They're going to meet Fiona's parents.
Yeah, they're going
right?
to meet the parents, and
Prince
it's like
Charming is there.
it's the
Yes,
celebration of the wedding.
Exactly.
Oh.
And then
What the
Shrek.
fuck happened in Shrek 3?
Hold on,
It
let
wasn't
me
really
look
that.
up.
It
Let me
really
look
wasn't
up.
that memorable.
Plot of
but
Shrek 3.
Strictly Shrek 1 and 2. I mean, let's talk about a few of these. The opening track to Shrek 1's album is like the biggest banger of all time. It's called Stay Home. It's by a band called Self, and they like if you listen to Self now versus when they made this song, the completely different bands. And I love that.
I found the plot to Shrek 3.
Okay,
Lay it on.
please
Alright.
read it.
When King Harold suddenly croaks, Shrek learns he will have to rule the land of far, far away unless he can find a suitable heir to the throne.
Then he has
That's
it's like King
right.
Arthur or some shit, right? He goes on the journey. to King
Justin
Arthur.
Timberlake's in Shrek 3.
Yeah,
he was the voice of,
plays
like, King-
Fiona's cousin.
He is no.
It
thought
says
he-
it right here.
Yes.
Fiona's cousin Artie.
Yes.
Yeah, King Arthur.
Yeah, but in Shrek 2, Justin Timberlake was also in Shrek 2, and he played the fairy godmother's son.
He was Prince Charming.
Prince Charm. Not yes.
Was he?
It was.
Wow.
I'm looking this up.
Heated Shrek debate in the movie soundtracks episode, guys. This is. I'm assuming this is what you all came for.
Oh yeah, this is what everyone subscribes weekly for. They wait with on bated breath for us to ramble about what the fuck happened in Shrek 3.
Anyway, Shrek and his
You're right.
trusted
You're right.
companions.
JT didn't come until the third. Why? Who is
Prince
who
Charming.
played Charming?
Maybe a less memorable member of
IMBD
NSYNC.
it. We love you. IMBD sponsor us.
Rupert Everett. Wow, I would have never. I would have never guessed that. Rupert. If you heard Rupert Everett's voice, you would know. Oh my god.
Can you like read off his hit list on?
But I
IMDb,
remember just.
whatever?
I must be remembering the movies in a mixed order.
I'm gonna look 'em
It's
up.
been it's Shrek 1 I know by heart, and Shrek 2 is like a little bit of a blur because it was all right.
I'm trying to see what else he did.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm sure if I see some of his stuff, I'll be like, oh, him.
He's old.
He doesn't look old.
He's
That's an old picture of him.
He's
Oh, that's why.
59.
That would make sense. Okay.
oh, he's hot in his IMBD photo.
He was
though.
an Inspector Gadget in 1999.
Was
Inspector Gadget.
he Inspector
Doo-doo.
Gadget?
I don't know.
No, I don't think he was Inspector Gadget.
Oh no, you know who it was? It was the Broderick kid.
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick
We were
was
just
Inspector
talking about
Gadget.
him in the car.
Yeah. Matthew Broderick was Inspector Gadget. Anyway, we're getting
Anyway,
way off subject, but
Not
Speaking of-
necessarily.
Matthew
Yeah, a little bit.
Broderick, Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
He was
also
also-
has an amazing
amazing
movie
soundtrack.
Bow, bow. Amazing.
Rupert Everett was also in Black Mirror.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh, okay. I'm not going to talk about Black Mirror right now, but I will talk about it with you guys later because the new season's coming out in December.
Yeah. So anyways,
Shrek.
getting back to the Shrek albums. I mean, I'm just gonna rip through this.
He was in the Chronicles of Narnia. Sorry, I'm just like this guy's thing right now.
Andrew's having a crisis.
And
about this
Rupert
guy.
Everett, please come on the podcast.
Do it. That'd be awesome.
Fucking love you, dude. You were great in Shrek 2.
We love you, man.
You imagine going to the red carpet for one of his fucking like real movies. We fucking loved you in Shrek 2. Like, fucking
2.
Yeah, do your charming impression. Fucking troll the shit out of him.
god.
Anyway,
right.
getting back to the Shrek albums. I'm a Believer by Smash Mouth.
Ooh.
Like Wow by Leslie Carter, also related to Nick Carter and Aaron Carter, the
Yep.
Carter sister.
Yep.
Best Years of Our Lives by the Baha Men.
Yeah.
My Beloved Monster by the Eels. All Star by Smash Mouth. That is how that song got famous, but
how that
it's
meme started.
perpetuated that song. Hallelujah by Rufus Wainwright.
Oh.
Amazing.
Yo, that
I'm
one.
I'm on my way by the Proclaimers.
Oh my god.
Fuck
Yes.
yeah. It's a great song. And then I'm a Believer sung by Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
So like the really good
The
cover.
really good cover of I'm a Believer.
Yes.
The Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
But then
Shrek 2.
Shrek 2. They didn't
up,
have to do this
Buttercup.
to us, but they did.
They went hard for Shrek 2.
Accidentally in Love by the Counting Crows.
Accidentally in love.
Holding Out for a Hero by Frau Frau.
I need a hero.
That's a fucking jam.
Ugh.
Funky Town by Lips. Come on.
Yo, Shrek 2 fucks.
As Lovers Go by Dashboard Confessional.
Yes.
Oh, my.
I guess this wasn't as good. I take back my statement. This wasn't as good as I thought it was. Shrek 1 was way better.
The first half of Shrek 2 fucks.
Livin' La Vida Loca by Eddie Murphy and Antonio Banderas, though.
Yo, let's not forget Simon Cowell had an appearance at the end of that movie too.
They did just like American Idol at the end of fucking, because that was, when American Idol was like a thing with,
Yep.
so the OG cast of like Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul. So he was just there.
And then Charming did I'm too sexy for
That's
my shirt.
right.
Too sexy for my shirt.
And it was just like, wasn't that the thing? There's like that meme going around right now of like the text post where it's like, was it just me or like a bit of mass hysteria where there's that one feature on the Shrek 2 DVD where you just had to like play American Idol with
Yeah.
Simon Cowell.
Yes.
That was great.
You had
I forgot all about that. That's awesome. But fucking Jennifer Saunders does the cover of Holding Out for a Hero by Frau Frau, and it's like
Yeah.
slowed down, and it's amazing.
Yep.
And then there's a fucking chorus, and she's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's amazing. That's great. But Shrek 1 was way fucking better.
Both of them.
I was thinking
They're
Shrek 2 outdid it, but it's been a couple years. But it's fucking. I love those albums so much.
Yeah, me too.
You guys go on. This fucking Shrek albums rock.
All right. So I showed Jordan Almost Famous for the first time a few days ago because he'd never seen it.
Oh.
And
Oh,
can we like agree?
major
first
eye roll.
Yeah, I know.
First of all,
First of all,
it's Jennifer Hudson, right?
What's that movie? I don't remember.
no, Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson. I get the
Classic
fucking name. Whatever.
mistake.
I don't know celebrities' names. Whatever. Clearly, I didn't.
think-
fucking.
It's by far her best role she's ever done. She's beautiful in that movie.
100%.
And-
She is the movie. Like I
So-
watched that movie to watch her play
Yes.
that role.
It's my favorite movie. It was the movie that like completely changed my life and made me think about music in a completely different way. And I was like, I want to do this. So, I mean, now we're on this podcast, which is really cool. So it's all happening. But yeah, Almost Famous. Andrew, have you seen it?
Nope.
You would love it.
Oh my God.
So it's literally the basis of the movie is the kid is he interning for Rolling Stone?
No, so his name is William. He's a 15-year-old kid. His
Okay.
sister, who's played by young Zoe Deschanel,
Okay.
leaves home to become a stewardess, and she leaves him
A
she leaves
stewardess,
him
like
her collection of
Like an airplane stewardess?
yeah. So she leaves to become a stewardess. He inherits her rock collection, and it goes like however many years into
Then
the
he
future
becomes a geologist.
when he's what?
You said rock collection.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And he starts basically writing.
This is quartz.
He basically starts writing rock reviews for his school newspaper,
Okay.
and he's sending it to Lester Bangs, who is an actual rock critic, who's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
So then he starts doing little side projects for him, and Cream magazine was an actual, and I'm pretty sure still is, a rock magazine that he was running. And then Rolling Stone magazine gets a hold of Will's articles and whatever, and they're like, hey, thinking he's like a college grad. This kid's like 15.
Uh-huh.
And they send him on tour
Okay.
with this Almost Famous band, fictional band called Stillwater.
Okay.
And it's basically him chronicling what it's like to be traveling with an up-and-coming rock band in the
Yeah,
early
but the band
1970s.
Stillwater is on tour with Blue Oyster Cult, right, in the movie? Or is it Black Sabbath?
Black
one of the-
Sabbath. They
Yeah,
mentioned
but
Black
I
Sabbath.
thought it was with. I thought Blue Oyster Cult was mentioned in the
No,
movie.
they
at
don't
one point.
mention Blue Oyster Cult. They mention Bowie. They mention Deep Purple.
Nice,
and
nice.
and Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin's all over the place too.
I really thought Blue Oyster Cult was. I must be thinking of something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's been a couple years, but I love that movie.
Almost Famous is a really wholesome and just all around amazing film. It's what I watch when I'm really sad. I watch it when I'm sick. I watch it really when I need to pick me up. The soundtrack is completely amazing. I can list it off.
But yeah, so Kate Hudson's character is playing
Her
a
name's
groupie.
Penny Lane. No, it's a Band-Aid. She's not a groupie.
Well, she's a groupie.
She's there for the music.
Yeah, she's a groupie. The 15-year-old kid that's writing is like falling in love with Penny Lane because she's fucking beautiful and like crazy amazing. And
She's fucking
meanwhile,
Russell.
she's like having sex with the guy from the band.
Yeah,
Okay.
Russell, the guitarist.
Yeah. So it's just interesting. And the guy from the band like knows kind of that this kid has a crush on her. Is like kind of fucking with him a little bit, right? It's so good.
And he doesn't want to interview him because they call him, he's a rock critic, so he's the enemy, you know? Like back then, rock critics would just tear music apart. Like they would rip
plot
into Led
thickens.
Zeppelin. Like they didn't give a fuck. So they thought he was just going to write this absolutely absurd article about them, which he didn't, but still.
It's a great movie though.
It's
I like.
really
I guess
good movie.
it's all about live music and stuff. You know.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And concerts and, you know, what it's like to have music change your life to such a enormous degree.
Love that movie.
We can all probably identify it pretty well. The soundtrack features Simon and Garfunkel,
Oh,
The Who, Todd Rundgren,
Yep.
Yes, The Beach Boys, Rod Stewart, The Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin, Elton John, David Bowie, Cat Stevens, and Nancy Wilson.
wow. There's a lot. It's a good
All-star
album.
lineup.
It's a good album. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go and listen. A lot of these I got to re-listen to. I didn't really have a ton of time to listen to everything, but
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these albums are just fucking. They just got some gems on them, you know.
Yeah. So Almost Famous, if you guys haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. It won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, and Cameron Crowe's currently working to turn it into a musical.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. I saw you guys posting about that.
Rolling Stone posted about that. I would pay boatloads of money to see that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's such a good. I mean, I think the music of the movie makes it, and I think that's why we're here. We're talking about albums that really stuck with us after, like that made the movie what it was. You know.
Yeah.
That movie is phenomenal, and I think 100% because of the music that is played throughout that movie.
Oh, for sure. The music,
Yes.
the aesthetic of it. You know, who doesn't like 1970s
They paired it.
rock and
They
roll?
paired it perfectly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
And like the songs that they chose, probably at the time weren't like the biggest ones on the scene, but like in terms of the storyline, it really leads the plot.
What Zeppelin song did they play in that?
They did Tangerine, That's the
Oh,
Way, and
yeah,
Misty
yeah, yeah.
Mountaintop.
Yeah,
They had
yeah,
three
yeah.
Zeppelin
Yeah,
songs.
I remember Tangerine being in that.
Yep, it's at the very end
Yeah.
when they're like No More Planes tour, 1974. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a cute movie.
Oh yeah, Meg.
Yeah, I really like that movie.
Oh, that's a good one. What do you got, man?
All right, so I'm gonna give an honorable mention first, strictly because of like one scene in the first Kingsman movie.
Okay.
Like the scene where they're in the church and like the giant fight scene breaks out and it's all choreographed to like Freebird.
I've never seen
Yes. Oh my. I can't believe you're bringing this up right now. That
It's
was
like
one of the best scenes. It was so badass.
Oh yeah, and it's all like one of like those crazy like one tracking shot, so it's not like no cuts to it. Like
And it's following the whole thing going on, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So like an absolute like honorable mention strictly because of that one scene. Like it works like so perfectly with that song. And if you somehow haven't seen Kingsman, Meg, you
I
should.
haven't seen
I haven't seen
I'm
the second
sorry.
one. The first one blew me away. I was
First
like,
one really good. Second one I thought was pretty good, but it suffered from some sequelitis. You know, they did too much of the stuff that they thought made the first one good. They was like this whole thing of like the American version of the Kingsman, which they kind of didn't do much with. Like Channing Tatum was in it as a character for literally like 15 minutes, and then like he wasn't really in the movie.
really?
And I was like, what? Like, and even then, if they developed some of the other characters more, it would have been cool. But it was just like, yeah, I feel like
It's tough to have a movie that develops characters in a what 2-hour time window.
Oh yeah,
That's
for,
tough.
for sure. That was just my small criticism of the second Kingsman movie. It's like it's good if you like the first one, you'll probably like the second one, but you're gonna walk out of there being like, I like the first one a little better. Just
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
like, if anything, I feel like because the first one, no one expected anything of it, and then it was really good, so everyone was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, just it was like one of those movies. It's one of those movies where you see it as a preview when you're in the movie theater and be like, "Oh, yo," and hit the person next to you. "Oh, we gotta see that," and then you never do.
Yeah, and then you.
It was
like,
one of those movies,
but
and then
like
it was
that-
amazing.
Oh yeah, but for me, it was like that one friend that did see was like, "Guys, you gotta watch this now that it's on Netflix,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever it was." Right? All right, sure. And then we watched it. What the fuck? This
Yeah.
is amazing.
I saw it in theaters. I remember because I was like, it was one of those movies that I was like, I never end up going to see half of the movies. I say, "Yo, we gotta see that," right?
As anyone does.
As anyone does.
Yeah.
But I went and saw that one, and I was blown away. It was awesome.
It's a really good movie, but I'm giving an honorable mention to that one strictly because of that one scene. Like, go look it up on YouTube if you just want to look up, Kingsman Freebird scene. Like,
Yeah.
it's an amazing scene.
I'm gonna have to watch it later now.
But I'm gonna give my first soundtrack actual shout out to. I'm just gonna go randomly off my list. I'm gonna go from the bottom up. The Music Never Stopped. It's a film that was. It stars the guy from like all the State Farm commercials. So it's this movie. It's based off an essay called The Last Hippie, which like the basic premise of both that and the movie is like this hippie gets like a massive brain tumor and it like destroys a bunch of his memories because he like runs away from home. It's like the early 60s and or late 60s, whatever. His dad's like, "You need to go to college," and he's like, "No, Dad, I want to go play rock and roll music." So he runs away from home and then like he just gets like never heard from again. And like he shows up like whatever many years later in a hospital. He has like a massive brain tumor. They get operated on, but then like forgets who he is and like loses all his personality and stuff. So then it's like this whole journey of like him and his dad bonding through like music therapy, where like they'll like play like an old like Beatles song that the kid used to listen to, but the dad kind of hated that music because he wasn't into like rock music. And it's this whole thing of like the father and son coming to terms with each other and so on and so forth. It's a really awesome movie, absolute tearjerker. But the soundtrack is really cool. But
I think the coolest part of that movie is what's the actor's name? The dad in the movie. Is it J.K. Simmons?
Yes, J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. So J.K. Simmons' character, the dad, brings a bunch of the kid's old records to the hospital where he's or the place where he's housed at.
Yes.
And he plays him like a Grateful Dead like thing, and he knows that like
Amazing.
like the dad hates the Grateful Dead and like hated all that music when the kid was listening to it, but he played it and the kid started getting his memory back and he became himself and stuff. And it was just
So it's like he can only be like normal, if you will, again through when he's listening to his music. So like the Beatles or the Dead or Cream or whatever. And it's like there's this whole really cool scene where like his dad convinces the doctor to let him like bring his son to a Grateful Dead concert that he wins tickets to. So like the idea is like, well, hey, maybe if he hears like a new Grateful Dead song, it can form a new memory. So that's like this whole beautiful scene where like they go to a Grateful Dead show and buy like a bootleg like tape of it from like the guys over there, because he's like, there's this whole scene where it's like, oh, those guys over there are there. The guys are gonna make the bootleg tapes of the show. We gotta go find them after and buy one.
yeah. And the cool part is they do Touch of Grey, which was a song that was new to this kid's character. So
Yeah,
the
so
kid had never heard the song before, but the dad was a huge fan of the song and was listening to it on the radio and stuff. And
Yes. So then there's this whole thing where he forms a new memory to like him and his dad having a blast at at the show, listening to A Touch of Grey. And this whole thing that comes full circle. I'm not going to spoil the end of the movie because you should absolutely go watch it. It's amazing. It's on Amazon Video, I think.
I watch it. You can rent movies on YouTube. I do
You can
that a
just do
lot.
that,
Yeah.
too.
I
If
rent
not,
movies on
maybe-
YouTube all the time.
If not, if you're one of those people that torrent stuff illegally, you can find it through your own sketchy internet means too. I don't
Love
judge.
it.
I love finding movies on sketchy internet pages and giving your computer herpes.
The best.
Internet
herpes.
Oh yeah, when there's like 3 different things, it's like click here, click here, click here, and you're like, oh god.
That movie is so great, and thank you for reminding me of that. I watched that with my dad because my dad and I will get on the cable box and we'll go to the on demand and we'll just look through all the movie descriptions and pick a movie someday when we want to watch a movie.
That's wholesome.
And we saw this like father and son bond over music, and like I think I've talked about it before on here. My dad is my biggest music influence. He played the Tom Petty, rest in peace Tom Petty. We'll talk about that after.
Yes.
He played all the Tom Petty, the Eagles, and the Fleetwood Mac stuff when I was a kid. So he was like had this huge impact on me. So we saw that, and the description was like, boom, putting that on him was incredible. It was an awesome movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, like the soundtrack's awesome too. It's like most of it's like Grateful Dead. So like I'm just looking at here, it's like there's Uncle John's Band, Truckin'.
Yes.
Then there's like I Threw It All Away by Bob Dylan. There's Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf,
Steppenwolf. Yes.
and a lot of other Grateful Dead. It's like
a
most of
lot
the
of Grateful
soundtrack
Dead.
is Grateful Dead.
Love
Yeah.
those Deadheads.
But I love Touch of Grey. That's a jam.
But
Love
it's just
it.
one of those
Such
things.
a good
Like,
song.
it's a very cool movie. It's very wholesome. It was like one of those like small like film festival movies that got like a limited big theater release in like 2011 or something. The first time I saw it was in like a music class, like my senior year of high school, because like we were talking about music therapy, so this kind of gave us an idea of like what it was like, and I was like, oh, cool. And then I was watching it like, as a senior in high school, trying not to cry in the classroom, like, shit, man, like someone's like cutting onions in here or something. Like, damn.
It's such a good movie.
Oh yeah, but would watch it if you enjoy music at all, especially if you know someone who is a Deadhead. Watch it with them; they will love it.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yes,
Well, speaking of jams, so besides from the Shrek, because Shrek is those two soundtracks I grew up listening to, because
that's right.
But I think my favorite movie soundtrack of all time is also another kids movie soundtrack. I don't know if anyone ever saw the movie Surf's Up with Shia LaBeouf. It's
Yes.
about the surfing penguins.
Like the mockumentary about the penguins.
Yeah,
in the
it's
Arctic and go to surf in Hawaii or
it's,
whatever.
It's filmed like a documentary about this penguin that is from Antarctica or something.
Antarctica,
Antarctica or whatever.
somewhere.
And they're doing this surfing documentary, and it's just really funny. And he gets picked by a recruiter to go play and do this surfing competition on this island called Pengu. And
Amazing.
it's just funny. And so the movie is filmed like a documentary about this penguin named Cody that gets chosen to do this. He meets a surfing chicken, meets all these characters, and
That's right, the
it's
surfing
they
chicken.
they do a riff on ESPN's Surf Show, and it's just
Yeah.
really, and they have like the Sam Mascella from he does all the X Games. He's the guy that is the main guy for all the X Games stuff. He was on it. Kelly Slater, who's a really famous surfer, he was on it. And it's actually them, and they made the penguins look like these guys. It's really good.
Yes.
And it's a cute kids movie. He gets mentored by this really famous surfer who was pretending to be this bum living on the island, and teaches him to be a better surfer. It's just such a really good feel good. But I think the thing that makes the movie so great is the fucking soundtrack, because it's all like reggae and jam band influenced kind of music, and it fits really well with the surf culture. So it's very surfer kind of music. They 311, Incubus, The Dirty Heads, Lauryn Hill,
Ugh.
Nine Black Alps, Sugar Ray, Pearl Jam,
Sugar Ray.
Pearl Jam.
Green Day, The Romantics,
Yes.
New Radicals. It's incredible, and it's just
I love all of
they
these.
fit the songs perfectly with the mood of what's going on in the scenes, and it's A++. It's really fantastic, and it really makes the whole movie.
I love that we're doing this movie soundtrack episode, because it shows how much music influences emotion and like these tiny moments in your life.
It does.
Like, what if you had a soundtrack to your life? Like,
does.
what would you pick? Like, there's so much.
So
Be a pretty boring
to piggyback
soundtrack
on
of my
that,
life,
I
I'm not
think
gonna lie.
every time I watch this movie, and I watched this movie a couple weekends ago because I knew this whole thing was coming up, and
Preparing.
this is my favorite thing, right?
Researching.
And
Quote unquote.
I watched the movie. I was just home one night. It's one of the movies I have rented in my iTunes library, so I always have it on my computer. I watch it on every flight I go on. I watch Surf's Up. I've watched it on every flight I've gone on forever. And I watched it, and I can't get through the movie without smiling when the song "You Get What You Give." You know that song.
Yep.
Maybe.
Don't let go. You got
Yes.
the music in you. It's
Yeah.
that was a terrible cover.
No, that's gonna be
But
the
you
lead
get it.
track off of me and Mike's cover album coming
I'm
out.
so glad I let you
know,
guys just
but
do that by
2019.
yourselves.
But you get it. So that's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's my best friend Kelsey's favorite song, which I think is why I love it so much, is because it's her favorite song, and it's
such
like
a
this,
good song.
and
That-
it just makes you feel good. It's got this like really awesome emotion. The lyrics are awesome.
That song was in one of the live action Scooby Doo movies.
Oh wow!
I think it was in Scooby Doo 2 Monsters
Wow.
Unleashed.
Wow. Oh, I love that you knew the
Which-
the tag on the Scooby Doo movies. Like,
Yeah, which is like also side note, honorable mention, Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. They had Ruben from American Idol
Okay.
do "You're a shining star, do no matter who you are." Shadow of
Ruben.
Sea.
Oh yeah, Ruben
Yeah.
stuttered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they all
yeah.
did it with him. They all got up and danced, and it was that animated Scooby. And you know what? Shout out just in general to the
That's-
live action Scooby Doo
That's
movies.
awesome.
Just
Sure,
you know,
Meg.
shut up, Andrew. They're great films. Okay.
Are they?
Yes.
I'm gonna check
But,
the Rotten Tomato meter on.
Well,
those.
Rotten
know.
Tomatoes is biased.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't get through Surf's Up without smiling during that part, and it just
It's
makes me.
wholesome.
It's just this moment. It's at the towards the end of the movie, and it just makes you feel amazing. It's just incredible. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen Surf's Up, it's one of those feel good movies that'll make you smile at
You
the
have
end. It's
to.
really awesome.
Yeah.
And then
We got Forrest Gump.
we got Forrest Gump. That's gotten a lot
Yes,
of a lot,
lot
of
of hits.
traction.
Lot of people.
It was the first one that came to mind because shout out to my cousin Christine's husband Ross, who one Christmas forced us to put the TV on because like TNT or like AMC or something was like showing Forrest Gump, and he went on this huge rant about why Forrest Gump had the best soundtrack of all time. And like now every time I watch it, like I
Meg.
think of him.
Stuff.
I don't give a shit what Rotten Tomatoes says about Scooby Doo.
Meg, audience score puts it at 39.
I don't give a shit. I give it 100.
Critics give it a 22.
I give it 100 in my heart.
Look up the movie Master of Disguise on Rotten Tomatoes. That
Oh.
obscure Mike Meyer movie.
Yep, I know exactly.
Filmed probably by the same guy, judging on the
I know
animatronics of that
exactly
movie.
what movie you're talking about. I remember the whole fucking
I
turtle
want to
bit.
be a master of disguise.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Fucking
Anyway.
crazy, dude. That's probably got a terrible rating too, but that
Oh,
was
yeah.
a fucking
Oh, let's find out.
riot.
It's right here. Oh no!
got a one-
Critic 1%.
It's gonna 1%.
Oh my
I knew it was gonna be something really low.
Audience scores 32. I'm gonna try to find some
That's.
critic reviews.
I bet that's done by the same person too. The vibe of both of those movies is very similar.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Ross made us put it on, and then I sat down with him, and I watched the whole movie with him, and that's when everything else
James
came into
Brolin was in this
perspective.
movie?
Who
James Brolin.
is he really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
On this episode, Andrew gets questionably weirded out by IBDM stuff.
IMBD. My close.
IMDb. DBIM.
I don't see anyone else that I know.
MDIA.
So yeah, I think we're all in agreement that Forrest Gump is one of the best movies of all time, and also has one of the best movie soundtracks of all time.
Yeah.
One review says about A Master of Disguise, a film about as funny as seeing a seeping wound.
Oh no!
Oh,
oh boy.
All right.
All right, let's get you off Google.
Yeah.
buddy. Let's get you off Google.
Andrew's done with the internet for today. Anyway, so yes, Forrest Gump features songs by Elvis Presley, of course, to start it out. He does Hound Dog. That's how he does his little dance and his little,
yes.
whatchamacallit, braces and whatever. They have Joan Baez. They have Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yes.
They got Aretha Franklin, the
Leonard
Jimi Hendrix
Skinner.
Experience, Bob Dylan, The Doors, the Beach Boys, the Mamas and the Papas, Buffalo Springfield.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't realize they had so much Doors on here. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Easy there, killer.
Hyperventilating.
I'm all right. We're fine. Okay. Simon and Garfunkel, Jefferson Airplane, Peter, Paul and Mary, The Byrds,
yes.
Three Dog Night, More Doors, Leonard Skinner, like Andrew said, Jackson Brown, the Doobie Brothers. Oh my gosh, Fleetwood Mac, Willie Nelson, and Bob Seger.
That movie is a stacked soundtrack.
What an all-star soundtrack! Like that's insane. And they always put these songs in like the pinnacle moments in the movie, like when they play The Doors, when Jenny's thinking about jumping off the balcony.
No, that was Leonard Skinner.
No,
Yeah,
it's The Doors.
I'm pretty sure it's Leonard Skinner.
It's.
I'm gonna look it up. I am pretty sure it's
What
Leonard
song?
Skinner.
I'm pretty sure
it's
they're
like
playing. It's either when she's about to jump off or right after she ripped that line of cocaine. They're
What song?
playing The Doors. I'm pretty sure it's "Break On Through to the Other Side." You can Google it.
Oh, I did. Forrest Gump, Jenny Scene, Leonard Skinner. First thing that comes up.
Then it's when she's doing coke that they're playing The Doors. I remember
That would make sense.
Yeah, and then they play like what CCR when he's over in Vietnam.
Oh yeah, that's like that's where the trope of American GIs in fucking Vietnam and helicopters is CCR. Like that was like the film that did that. When there's like the
Oh.
dudes in the chopper and then CCR plays, fucking the song. I can't remember the name right now for some godforsaken reason.
this site that I'm using, this TuneFind site that's listing the Forrest Gump soundtrack. has the scenes that they're featured in underneath the song.
That's dope.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll post it. Wow, this is really cool. So yeah,
Anyway,
Forrest Gump. Shout out to Ross for completely changing my viewpoint on how soundtracks influence cinema. I love you.
Shout out.
Shout out, Andrew. What else you got? Hit
what
us
else
with
do I
it.
got? Next on my list, Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
That's the power of love.
Like that's like the opening track to that movie is like Marty McFly running late for school. Oh God, I'm late for school. 'Cause
Nothing
he goes
fucking
He
better.
goes, he blows up the giant amp, and then he gets the call from Dog. He's like, "Wait, are you saying it's 8:15? I'm late for school." And then he's doing the whole thing. Where he's riding the skateboard through the town, like set to fucking Huey Lewis and the News.
such a great.
Nothing better. And
That's
in
probably
that,
it's one of the best opening scenes to a movie.
we all either wanted to be Marty McFly or date Marty McFly.
I was
in that
Marty
moment.
McFly for Halloween
All of the above.
3 years ago.
I know. You were?
Yeah, in 2015.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was, that was the year in Back to the Future 2 where he goes to. So,
Oh, shit.
it was very meta.
Oh, right. That's right. When they
Dude,
had those sick Nikes.
Marty McFly is a fucking baller.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
Yeah.
big dick energy?
Yeah.
Marty McFly. Marty McFly is the definition of big dick energy.
That's so true.
Big
oh my
swinging
God.
dick Marty McFly.
Holy shit.
What an
You're
opening.
gonna make me cough.
I mean-
Back
because
to
I'm
the
laughing
Future is
so hard.
fucking awesome too.
But Mike, you're so right because he literally in the canon of Back to the Future inspires Chuck Berry to write and produce Johnny Be Good because he plays at the school dance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which fun fact, the guitar he's using in that scene is technically a historic inaccuracy. That one wouldn't be produced till like 2 or 3 years later from when that scene's shot. But like, it's like one of those really weird, minute things. Like you have to be a real guitar nerd to like notice. And I only knew about it because someone posted an article.
Fact checker
about it.
Andrew.
Notice. Wait. What? Explain that again.
The
So, like-
guitar that he's using
So like the
in
red
that
guitar he's
scene.
using in the scene where he plays Johnny Be Good is technically a historic inaccuracy because that exact guitar wouldn't be produced until like 2 or 3 years after when that scene would technically take place. But it's like one of those very obscure things that I didn't even know about until like a guitar forum I follow posted like a fun article about. They're like, oh, like believe it or not, this isn't true. Like if you look like this should only have like 5 screw holes, but it has 6, or like the pick guard should be attached like this, but it's attached like that sort of thing. It's
I
like,
love that people
Wow.
pay attention to that.
That's
stuff.
so cool.
I
it's
love it.
Super obscure. Like
Well, that's like the fucking. It's not even a meme. It's just an image from that movie of the date where Marty McFly went back to the future. Circles around the internet all like every day. There is
Yep.
a new one, and it's like today's the day Marty McFly went back to the future, and it's like people can just fucking Photoshop the shit out of it and make it look like it's. I've seen it so many times where people are like that's actually not the date from the movie, and like people fight about it on the internet. It's so funny.
I love the
Yes.
internet.
Oh, fucking Back to the Future though, man.
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yes.
There's so many just awesome scenes with cool songs. And
What else is on that out? Read some other ones
Yeah,
from that
right.
At
album. So
least
we got
the
Huey-
track listing, at least from Wikipedia. "Power of Love" by Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
"Time Bomb Town" by Lindsey Buckingham.
Yes.
Lindsay. Yes.
Lindsay Buckingham.
"Back to the Future" by the Out of Time Orchestra. "Heaven is One Step Away" by Eric Clapton.
Oh,
Clapton.
yeah.
"Back in Time" by Huey Lewis and the News.
Yep.
The "Back to the Future" Overture by the Out of Time Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
"Wallflower" Dance with Me Henry by Etta James.
Etta James.
Night Train by Marvin Berry and the Starlights.
Oof.
Earth Angel, Will You Be Mine by Marvin Berry and the Starlighters.
Yes.
And then, Johnny Be Good. And then there's a couple other ones that didn't make it on there. Like the actual soundtrack not included on the album. Like Mr. Sandman, the
Mr.
Ballad
Sandman.
of Davy Crockett and stuff like that.
But those were probably in the movie. They just didn't
Yes.
make it on the
Yeah, but it's like the mister Sandman one, like that's the scene where he ends up immediately he's in the 50s and he's walking around town. Like I remember that like
right when his mom totally wanted to screw him, but he was
well,
like,
that scene specifically, he's like walking around like old timey forest pines or whatever, and he sees like all like I remember the scene specifically is like he's looking at the old timey gas station, all like the attendants run out, like the press suits and the press shirts and everything, like start checking the oil and doing the windshields and stuff, and you just hear Mr. Sandman as like all this like old timey 50s stuff is going on.
Yes, I loved the first Back to the Future. Oh,
It's a classic.
it's so good. It's also one of those feel good movies, like when you need a laugh or like something wholesome.
Whenever they're playing it at the drive-in near me, I always go out of my way to try and see it.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I did this year too. It was great.
Absolutely.
And I also saw Jaws at the same time. That was the second screening after.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, but I kind of like fell asleep halfway through. It was like really late. And I was kind of tired.
I don't, Andrew. I'm not at all surprised.
I mean, I'm like always perpetually tired, but it was like it was
Yes.
like after like that was like on my Friday from like my work week. So I was like, all right, Back to the Future, yeah. And then it was like Jaws. I'm like, okay. And then like I literally, me and my friend was there both like,
Jaws is
knocked out.
good, but if I had to choose between Jaws and Back to the Future, I definitely would choose Back to the Future.
Oh, for me, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, what else you got?
So, a big one that was suggested a couple times, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time, is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh,
With fucking Heath Ledger's other than The
R.I.P.
Dark Knight, it was Heath
Oh,
Ledger's, my favorite of Heath Ledger's performances.
That's like the one everyone knows him from other than the Joker.
Exactly,
Yes. So
yeah.
he was this heartthrob, badass guy and this really hard-ass bitch from this high school.
in California.
They fall in love, and it's if you haven't seen that movie, I've only known about this movie like for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Someone showed it to me, and I watched it, and I fell in love with it, and I've watched it so much. I watch it all the time.
It
It's
heavily
such
rotates on both Hulu and Netflix.
it's such a good movie.
Noted.
So I had this argument before. So does everyone know the song "We Used to Be Friends" by the Dandy Warhols?
Maybe if you played it.
Yeah. So when I first watched this movie, I could have sworn it was in the movie 10 Things I Hate About You, but it's not. And I'm looking just to make sure there's no chance that it was, but I don't believe from what I'm reading here that it isn't. Would have fit perfectly into the movie though.
Yeah.
Had I made that soundtrack, it would have been on there. Except the song came out in 2003,
Rip.
long after the movie was made. So,
Anyway,
the
doesn't
movie was
matter.
1998.
Still has about.
That's not-
Oh my God, 98? Really?
98 was that
Wow.
movie. Some great other actors in it other than Heath Ledger. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it.
Mhm. Young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We love you, JGO.
I know all these people. I just can't think of their names. He's really all you need to know. That was
He's
great.
like, him and Heath.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
I love you, baby. And
It's a
if
great-
it's quite all right, I need you.
It's a great song, but
baby.
that album, not a ton of notable big artists are on this album. I mean, Letters to Cleo, but there's like some awesome like smaller artists that had these songs, but the music fits so well into the story. It was really really cool. So I loved that movie a lot. So if you haven't listened to that soundtrack, for sure look that up.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one I want to talk about.
Sister
next.
Hazel was on there. Sorry, we're looking at the track list as we're reading about them. But yeah, Letters to Cleo, and which I didn't realize. So if anyone is a huge fan of the show Parks and Recreation,
Yes.
you will know that Ben Wyatt's character is a major Letters to Cleo fan, and when they do the Pawnee Music Festival in the show, you've seen the show.
Yes.
Talk
Talk me through the scene as I haven't seen it in like a little bit.
Okay, so Leslie, to help fund a park, plans this. They plan this music festival.
Isn't that,
and
I
it's
thought
like,
that was like the Pawnee Eagleton Unification Music
maybe
Festival.
maybe that's it. Maybe
It's like
that's it.
Fucking like Wilco was actually there.
It was Wilco, the Decemberists, and Letters to Cleo.
Okay.
And then Genuine. He did Pony. Yeah. Anyone know the rapper Genuine?
Yes.
Pony, let's do it.
Yes.
That's a jam. Shout out to my boy Nicky G. He fucking loves that song. Anyways, but that Letters to Cleo, the only reason I knew who they were was from Ben Wyatt from Parks and Recreation, but now they're apparently they have 2 songs in the 10 Things I Hate About You album, which I didn't even realize. I didn't really care who the artists were because the songs are fucking awesome. They just fit together. All the songs fit together really well. So
My favorite thing about that scene in the whole like Pawnee reunion festival episode was like, as I had read one of Nick Offerman's books, I'm pretty sure it was Paddle Your Own Canoe was the one that he specifically refers to this in. Because like he's a huge Tom Waits and like Wilco fan, so he was like in his book he was like, so like yeah, from being this like dorky theater kid to like getting to meet some of my music idols, this is really cool. But he was like losing his shit because like in one of the scenes like Chris Pratt is trying to tell him, like no, you're playing this song wrong, like this is how you need to play like my song 10,000 Candles in the Wind or whatever the fuck song was. Maybe it was like the Johnny Karate song, I don't remember. But like so like Nick Offerman is saying like, I'm sitting here watching one of my best friends like tell one of my music idols he's playing guitar wrong. I'm like, I want to scream, basically, because he's like, how dare you say this to my idol, but also like, Jesus Christ, this is happening.
that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, that fucking show's awesome.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
somehow have never watched Parks and Rec. Like, what are you doing with your
that's
life?
a great show.
Watch
But,
Parks and Rec.
yeah, that's how I got off on that. The Letters to Cleo. That I didn't know who that band was until, Ben Wyatt. And this is all music related, so I can go off on this rant. So everyone knows the band The Killers, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Somebody told me, and all the fucking songs. When
Smile Like
you were
You Mean
young,
It.
smile like. I love that song.
I
That's
know.
my favorite
Me
Killers song.
too.
I love that song. Hot Fuss is a fucking
Oh my god.
great album.
One of the best albums.
Oh my god. We're gonna do a fucking album show about our
Yeah.
favorite albums. Hot Fuss is up there. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So the Killers, their fucking lead singer looks. I comment on the Killers' Instagram every time they post a picture of their lead singer, and
Brendan Flowers.
Brendan Flowers, yes. And every time they post a picture of him, I comment on their Instagram and I say Ben Wyatt with a question mark, because if you put them side by side in certain pictures, Ben Wyatt, well, Adam Scott really, and Brandon Flowers from The Killers, they look very
Yes.
similar. So I always comment,
do.
is that Ben Wyatt, every time on their fucking. You can go through their Instagram. I've commented a ton of times on it.
And that's very similar to how, Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers
Yeah.
looks like Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're the
That's
same
the
person.
thing.
They're doing a huge benefit show for Will Ferrell runs this charity, and they're doing a really huge. Let me read this lineup to you. It's fucking benefit show lineup. They announced it a couple weeks ago, or Chad Smith announced it. Chad Smith has this supergroup band that he formed for this. Hold on. You're gonna. It's
Holding on for
so the
dear
name
life.
of this concert is Best Night of Your Life.
Okay.
And it's a benefit with Pearl Jam, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Dave Matthews Band, Guns N' Roses members. So it's a bunch of cool bands, but Chad Smith created this super group of artists. So it's, listen, you guys are going to fucking die. It's Brad Paisley,
Okay.
like the country singer, Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers,
Okay.
Chris Martin from Coldplay,
Okay.
Mike McCready from Pearl Jam,
Okay.
Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Stefan Lassard, who is the bassist for Dave Matthews Band.
Okay.
Josh Klinghoffer from the Chili Peppers, and Zoe Deschanel. And it's a fucking
What?
super.
Zoe.
It's a super group, and they're gonna play a set of covers together.
That sounds like an amazing.
How fucking dope is
band.
that? And then
I
there's
would-
some awesome fucking bands supporting it too. There's there's the band, and then there's it's a comedy festival too. So it's Jerry Seinfeld, James Corden, Jimmy Kimmel, Conan O'Brien, Jim Jeffries, Zoe Deschanel, Kumail Nanjiani, and Jerry Carmichael. And then it's the fucking super group. How dope is that?
That's like
Isn't that so
insane.
cool?
I want to listen to that shit.
Yeah, there better be fucking videos of that. I need
Yes.
to see. I need that in my life. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that about Ben Wyatt, aka Adam Scott, and Brandon Flowers from The Killers. Anyways,
right.
tangent done.
Back on track. Another soundtrack that we really like that I know Andrew hasn't seen the movie yet, but Mike has. We were talking about it. Is I, Tonya.
Yes. Oh my God. Great
If
soundtrack.
any of you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu right now.
It's about the female figure skater Tanya Harding, who got banned from figure skating because there was a conspiracy that
she allegedly tried to break the competitor's ankle.
Yes.
Allegedly.
But
And
it
well,
was her husband
and it ended
or
up they
ex-husband. They were like boyfriend,
it's still
husband,
kind of a
ex-husband.
conspiracy that
It's
she
weird.
knew. She
Yeah.
still denies that she knew, but there's people that say she did know, and there's evidence that she did know. But it's based on a true story, but about these two figure skaters. They were the most popular female figure skaters in
the
world
1980s.
in the 1980s, and they
AKA best decade.
they were going up. And Tanya Harding's this like trailer trash white trailer trash girl that comes from nothing and is trying to make a name for herself figure skating. She's a really good figure skater. And then there's Nancy Kerrigan, who's gotten everything handed to her on a silver platter as like this
Ice
rich
Princess,
kid,
yeah.
ice princess, and they go head to head. And then there's apparently some thing, and Nancy Kerrigan breaks her ankle or something. Really, really
Knee.
bad.
I think it was her knee.
blows her knee out.
I don't know.
something critical to ice
something
skating.
down
But the
there.
Something with
movie,
your legs.
the movie is about Tanya Harding's life, and it's just the most depressing movie.
It's filmed kind of like a documentary. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're interviewing her, who's played by Margot Robbie, who does an incredible job.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, just like her expressions and everything, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian Stan,
He
Ugh.
plays the creepiest
her
characters
husband,
in
yeah.
movies.
He's so well, kind of. He also plays Bucky Barnes in the Avengers movies and the Marvel cinema.
Mm-hmm. He played there was a
Your
movie
boy.
a couple
Yeah,
years
he's
ago.
my
he played
favorite boy.
He played a really really creepy character in a movie a couple years ago, and his character in the I, Tonya movie reminded me of the character he
Yeah.
played in this other movie.
He's really good.
Sebastian, what's his last name again? Sebastian
Stan.
Sebastian Stan,
Stan.
aka Meg's Daddy. I love him so much.
Meg, you don't need to tell me twice.
I
I am almost painfully aware.
Yes, Andrew knows. He's seen like all the Marvel movies with me. Anyway,
Yes, I have.
I put on that movie one day just because I'd wanted to see it, and Sebastian Stan's in it, and I love him and whatever. So I put it on Hulu, and I was blown away by the soundtrack. Like every time a song came on, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like this.
It's very, not necessarily off topic. Sorry to cut you off, but apparently Post Malone's doing some songs for the new Spider-Verse movie.
He is. I saw that today.
I just saw that right now. I think that's sweet because
Yeah.
I'm very hyped for that movie.
It's super cool. So yeah.
Sorry.
It's
Continue.
okay. So yeah, I, Tonya is really good. It features Bad Company, Dire Straits, Fleetwood Mac, Heart.
Ooh.
Let's see, Chris Stills, Peter Nashel, and Doris Day. So like they play like Barracuda, they play The Chain, they do Devil Woman, Romeo and Juliet, A Fair Shot for Your Mind.
That sounds like some pretty sweet stuff.
It's a really good film. Mike's looking up stuff. So.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm looking up stuff. It is a really, really good soundtrack, and I just think that and it's just getting back to this. I mean, we talk about it all night, but like the way the people that direct the music in movies are able to pair these songs so
It's
perfectly
so
and
good.
interweave them with the other songs on the album, which is, I think, if I'm a guy trying to do that, I could never pick a bunch of songs that mesh well together but are also all different genres. And I think that's the masterpiece of it all. It's
Oh yeah.
all
yeah.
these different genres of music coming together on this album, and it all fits the mood very well. And I just think it's
And it does nothing but enhance the scene and enhance the emotion of the characters.
and when it's done well, you get movies that have this incredible soundtracks that we're talking about still.
Yeah. So
you
yeah,
know?
I, Tonya, if you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. I would definitely recommend it for the soundtrack and just because it's a really good fucking movie. So Margot Robbie, we love you.
Oh, yes.
Hit us with it, Andrew.
All right. Next one, I'm going to say, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of votes on this one too on the.
I just have
social
like the
media.
very specific, like the whole thing with them eating like the parallel to Robert Johnson at like the Crossroads.
I've never seen the movie, so
What?
there's a lot of movies that were suggested that I did not know, but I'm a huge movie junkie, so I'm gonna binge all of these.
You
I
should
like- I'm gonna-
definitely watch Oh Brother.
Oh,
George
100%.
Clooney's in
Yeah.
it with two other guys who I can't remember.
Mhm.
And like the whole premise is like they escape jail and they're trying to like make their way to freedom and shit in like the early like 20s, maybe earlier in like the American like South. And there's like all these like crazy scenes where there's like there's one part where they're like hiding out in the woods, and then this like group of like some branch of Christians are doing this whole thing where they're all getting like wearing white and being like baptized in the river, and they're all
Wow.
singing in like this big like chorus like let's go down to the river and pray and
Yep.
like all that stuff. And like one of the prisoners goes and like gets baptized, like, guys, I've been like released of all my sins, the Lord is now my savior, and so on and so forth.
Incredible.
But like more specifically, I love I have the part where they're in like this recording studio with like this parallel to who is supposed to be like the real life Robert Johnson, like where the whole like made a deal with the devil to get good at music thing started. And technically the first member of the 27 Club, if you're gonna look at it like that.
Ooh.
But so they like meet him and they just pick him up as he's a hitchhiker. And then they go to this recording studio where it's like pay like, $1. And then we'll just like cut you a record or whatever. So like they're doing it and they sing the song like I'm a Man of Constant Sorrow, which is technically, at least according to Wikipedia, by the Soggy Bottom Boys, which is like their name of their band in the show. Which is
Soggy Bottom Boys.
yes, but it's like there's like tons of just like cool like music in that movie. I just like watching the movie sometimes. It vaguely reminds me of my dad because my dad likes that movie.
I need to see it.
It's very good.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it either. So
What?
movie
I
night
thought you would have at least seen it, Meg.
We need a couple movie nights here.
podcast in the sky movie night.
I mean, we can rip through a couple of these. I don't want to spend too much time on them. I
yeah.
mean,
I just have two more that I want
yeah,
to talk about.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's it.
go for that. I mean, mine I can rip through.
All right, one of them short. We got The Road to El Dorado.
Yeah.
Road El Dorado.
So we were talking earlier, and this just kind of popped up, and it happened to be on Meg's list. Road to El Dorado, if no one knows, is a cartoon movie.
DreamWorks, most underrated DreamWorks
It's the most.
animation film.
It is the
You're
most
ever.
underrated.
What about like Treasure Planet or like
No.
Atlantis?
I mean, that's
Atlantis
the
was pretty underrated
Treasure
too. Great
Planet
movie.
and Atlantis are Disney. Different not
This
the
is
same.
DreamWorks only. This
Oh,
isn't.
okay,
This
my
is
bad.
not affiliated with Disney.
My bad.
It's about these two explorers during the Christopher Columbus times that go and try to discover, what?
Miguel and Tulio.
Yeah.
Tulio and Miguel. Mighty and powerful gods.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Clausen for always watching that movie with me.
We love you, John.
Like once a week we would watch that movie.
It's such a good movie, and it's about these guys and they're street peddlers, and they gamble on the streets and take people's money, and they trick people into giving them money, and they're just these shysters, and they somehow wind up getting on
Cortez's ship.
on Cortez's ship to go over to the New World. They get there, and is it accidental discovery, or they steal a treasure map or something?
They were
and-
like hiding. They had the treasure map that they won in a bet and whatever. And then when they were running away from the guys who were trying to kill them for using like the fake dice or whatever, they fell into the barrels that were going to be the water supply for Cortez's ship. And then they found out because they opened the water barrels and whatever, and then they put them in the brig. But then they got the horse to
That's
break
right.
them out and whatever. Then
With
it fell
the
into
apple.
the ocean,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah.
had a little lifeboat and whatever. Yeah, so then they kind of land there before the rest of the crew does.
with the map, and they're determined that it's going to get them somewhere, and then
City
The-
of Gold,
yeah, the
El
mythical
Dorado.
Lost
Miguel
City of El
Miguel is
Dorado.
like the more adventurous one, and
Tulio's the fuck boy.
Tulio's the fuck boy, and pretty much they pretty much discover this new world.
It's basically like, to put it in some real hella nerdy terms, if you were to have like your rogue and your bard from your classic like
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons campaign just go on their own adventure, that's basically the road to El Dorado.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's about their adventures there. They get there. They think they're gods because they were foretold in the prophecy and whatever.
but the city of El Dorado is a fictional city made entirely out of gold.
It's actually a real myth.
It's based off
El
a real
Dorado's
myth.
a real myth.
Is
There
it
was-
really?
Yeah, there
I never
was
knew
slash
that.
still is the myth that there's like this hidden like Aztec or whatever city in South America.
Yeah,
where
it's
it's like
just
made
like
of gold.
It's like the Fountain of Youth. Like it's a real thing. They just made a fictional movie.
I didn't
out of
realize that, but yeah.
Yep.
So it's really really awesome, and then they both fall in love with this girl that lives there, and it's
it.
just
No,
this.
only Tulio does. Miguel's literally
They both have a crush on her at the beginning.
at the beginning, but then Miguel gets more into like he like takes on that role of the god that they were
Is he
bestowed
the,
upon.
that's the blonde one, right?
Yeah, he's
Okay,
my
just wanted
favorite
to make
one.
sure.
And he like goes out and he helps the town folks and he's really friendly.
So these Aztec people consider them like the lost gods because there's a statue of their actual gods, and they look very similar.
They come in on a
just
horse,
ironically.
yeah.
Yes.
But it's a cartoon movie, and the reason
It's
we're bringing
amazing.
this up is the fucking soundtrack.
Elton John didn't have to go that hard for us on the Road to El Dorado soundtrack, and
But
he
he
fucking
fucking
did.
did.
Also, sidetrack, there's a new trailer out for an Elton John biopic coming out in the spring. It looks incredible. Go watch it. Okay, back to El Dorado. Fucking banger after banger.
So it's so good. So Elton John made up all of these songs based on the storyline,
El Dorado.
and it's just really good. And it's like Elton John's most art. I love it. I have the CD in my car.
And even like the scenes that they play his music from, some of it's super trippy, like some of it's really wholesome. It's like just the way that they placed it in with the animation. It's beautiful. Like when they do I think it's Without Question or
And
some
then
yeah,
Friends
it's,
Never Say Goodbye is when they're like in the they're both fighting and
oh no, it's tough to be a god. So it's tough to be a god. So they get there and they're singing that song and there's like different colors happening and like different patterns and it's super trippy and like there's basically a rave going on your screen and like all the colors are in sync with the beat and you're sitting there and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It's hella tough to be
Well,
a god.
that's like I feel like I think the first real movie that did that with the matching the music with the cover, it colors, at least for cartoon movies, and this wasn't even something we talked about, but I'm gonna fucking talk about it.
Right.
The fucking Hercules.
Ooh.
Hercules
Ooh.
soundtrack is
Ooh.
bomb, and everyone
Ooh.
knows because it's the three soul singing women that
Yo.
do the whole soundtrack. And
Amazing.
but that I guarantee you that when they were making El Dorado, they wanted to do something similar to you remember all the colors they used to flash during the songs during the Hercules movies, and they did all these crazy animations. I guarantee you,
Based on the pottery and
someone
shit.
in
Yeah.
the war room when they were making El Dorado was like, give us
gotta
the
do
fucking
it.
Hercules.
Yeah.
All right. It's like, hey, Barber, fuck me up. Give me the
Yeah.
Hercules.
And then they went hard. Like
And
they
they-
did Hercules and they did it like times 10.
And they did, and so I in El Dorado is very similar in that way. They
Fun-
they matched the color scheme with the song. It's really fucking artistic. It's
Fun
really cool.
fact about the animation in El Dorado, they had to come up with a completely new way to do water animation for that movie. Something that was
Wait,
never
like water,
used before.
like literal, like they to animate the water.
Right, yeah. So
Okay.
to animate the water like in the canal and in the ocean or whatever, they came up with a completely new and like different way.
because the water had to be gold,
It
and it had
be
to have
gold-
patterns.
Yeah, it had, like,
it had
a
to make it
weird-
look like it was metallic patterns.
Yeah, it looks like real.
That's
like,
really neat.
It's crazy. Yeah, so El Dorado, fucking bop. I'm gonna have to go home and
well,
watch it.
technically, the name of the movie is The Road to El Dorado.
Yes.
but it's fucking El Dorado.
Yeah, if you tell your Amazon Fire Stick, Alexa, El Dorado, she'll be like, come right
come
up,
up.
bitch. She'll pull
That's
it
a
right
great-
up.
Coming right up, bitch.
Yeah.
Great
So that
movie,
one's a
great
good one.
soundtrack.
A few more just for me to go by. Walk the Line.
Great.
The Joaquin Phoenix Johnny Cash biopic. I actually just watched
That was
a
Joaquin
clip.
Phoenix that did that.
Sure did. He did all the music for it too. I'm pretty sure
Did not know that.
he was nominated for an Oscar for that film because of his uncanny representation of Johnny Cash, and he did all the vocals.
Joaquin Phoenix is amazing.
Yeah, him and Tom Hardy are by far like two of the best actors on the scene right now, and I feel like they're really slept on in terms of like their skill and their methods and whatever. Anyway, Walk the Line featured some of Johnny Cash's greatest hits, starting with his childhood and whatever, and him coming out of his shell. So like they do I Walk the Line, they do Get Rhythm, they do. Okay, so they do Ring of Fire, they do Cry Cry Cry, Folsom Prison Blues, Jukebox Blues. They do That's All Right. They do how we talked about in one of our early episodes, That's All Right, Mama. They do that one. Yeah, I think those are like the most notable ones. But yeah, so Joaquin Phoenix did the vocals in that movie.
That's so cool.
If you haven't seen Walk the Line, what the fuck are you doing? Like, honestly, everybody I know has seen Walk the Line, and everybody only has good things to say about it. Reese Witherspoon's in it too. She plays June Carter. I almost lost it for a second. She plays June Carter. She does the vocals too. So it's just a really well put together biopic. I don't think I've seen a biopic about a musician as good as Walk the Line so far.
Well, it's a theatrical biopic.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like biopics they interview actual people from their lives and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna
It's
do.
like a theatrical biopic.
We'll do a movie soundtracks part 2 too.
Well, actually,
like,
no, that's a lie.
after-
Biopics are never.
Yeah.
I recant that.
Like, I'm
statement.
sure we're gonna talk about the Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack when it comes out, and the Elton John movie soundtrack when it comes out, which is gonna be really cool. Which is called Rocket Man, by the way. Not that I remember. If you want to look it up, the new Elton John biopic is called Rocket Man. And then my last one is Across the Universe, which is a movie musical based strictly on Beatles songs, but in a universe where the Beatles never existed.
Wow.
Yeah, so it has what the fuck's his name?
James Sturgis.
Yes, he.
I'm going to
Incredible.
talk about a movie he's in too. That's a good segue.
Yeah, so Across the Universe is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Jim Sturgis.
Jim
Sturgis.
Sturgis. Yes, Jim Sturgis, and Evan Rachel Wood's in it too. The characters are named after like Beatles songs. Like they have Lucy, like
Eleanor and
no, they don't have Eleanor. They have Lucy. They have Max from Maxwell Silverhammer. Sadie from Sexy Sadie. Prudence. Jude, and then they have a character who's basically like a Jimi Hendrix type.
right.
In that movie, which is really good. But the way that they interpreted those Beatles songs was incredible. And they didn't even use like the really famous ones. I mean, they did some of them. They do Hey Jude and Let It Be and whatever. But like the way that they interpreted it to fit the plot of the film was just so beautiful. Like Prudence's character, she was gay in the film and nobody really talked about it too much. Like she didn't verbally come out and whatever, but they did I Want to Hold Your Hand about her singing about a cheerleader from her school that she was lusting after. And I feel like people don't really think that they can interpret those songs in that way. So, yeah. So that one's my last one.
I've never actually seen Across the Universe, but I've always been told I should watch it.
I have it on DVD. I'll let you borrow it.
Definitely.
It's
Of course
usually-
you have it on DVD. Of course.
It also rotates through both Hulu and Netflix, so you can maybe find it on there. But if it's not on there right now, I'll let you borrow it.
Definitely. And I mean, the James Sturgis movie I was going to talk about is 21.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the movie 21, you've probably heard the story before, but back in the early 2000s, there was a group of students that went to MIT that learned how to count cards and the game of blackjack.
Yes, that's the movie I'm talking
And so
about.
this movie stars Kevin Spacey, James Sturgis, and then there's a couple other actors. I don't know their names, but they're just like, oh, it's that guy from that movie, right? But James Sturgis is the main character in the movie, and Kevin Spacey plays the evil professor. But anyways, they learn how to count cards, and they go to MIT, and then they fly out to Vegas every weekend and count cards and steal money from Vegas, and then. It's based on a true story. This actually happened. It's based on the book Bringing Down the House, which was written by the guy that James Sturgis plays his character, and that's what the movie's based off the story. And it's a really really good movie. But the soundtrack's awesome because it's a lot of really cool electronic bands and stuff like that. They do MGMT, Peter, Bjorn, and John. The fucking Rihanna's on it. She's their "Shut Up and Drive" song, which I love that song. That's on that. Is it Mark Ronson's on it? They got some really Uncle is on it. Domino. They got some really really good songs. They pair well together. The Rolling Stones. It's a really really good soundtrack. But James Sturgis is the main character, which was a great segue there.
I love him.
Just ripping through. Remember the Titans. I really wish I could spend a whole episode talking about this movie. One of the best soundtracks. I still have it in my car.
Oh yeah,
but
sure.
all of the classic old songs, "Up Around the Bed" by Creedence Clearwater Revival. They've got a couple
CCR.
songs by the Temptations. They have "Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress" by the Hollies.
Yo, that song is one of my fucking bops.
Yep.
Ugh, I love
House,
that
House
song.
of the Rising Sun.
The Animals.
"Spirit in the Sky" by Norman Greenbaum. Greenbaum. Sorry.
Excuse me.
"Fire and Rain" by James Taylor. "Na Na 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 Hey Hey Hey." "Kiss Him" by Steam. "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" by Marvin Gaye.
Ugh.
Tammy, whatever.
Nice.
Marvin Gaye. Heard it through the grapevine. It's great, and it fits that era of time that the movie's based on really well. It's a football movie. You don't have to like football to watch it. It's really
No.
about racism in Southern America
And friendship.
and friendship, and it's really really it's a great movie. Denzel Washington's greatest performance of all time,
Oh yeah, for sure.
hands down.
It was a beautiful movie.
Some other movies that I really like that had really great soundtracks that you might not think of when greatest soundtracks come to mind. Disturbia, the obscure horror movie that Shia LaBeouf did. It's not really a horror movie, it's just a thriller. It's about his neighbor that tries to kill him, and it's really, really good. And
Yep.
he falls in love with this really beautiful girl.
There's some
and
steamy sex scenes.
there's some steamy sex scenes, and it's based about this kid that gets on house arrest, and he's bored, and he spies on all of his neighbors, and he notices his neighbor may kill people, and him and his friends go to discover it, and it's really really good. But it has some really good bands on that album. Not a Surf's on there, Buck Cherry, Afro Man, Kings of Leon.
What's wrong? Mike?
Lonely Day by System of a Down is on that album.
Took him a
It's
sec,
a
but he
really
got it.
good. The actual album that came out didn't have any of those. They had some other bands that weren't even in the movie, but the songs that were in the movie, Kings of Leon, that System of a Down song, it's really really good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a really great soundtrack. If you haven't, it's a really good movie. Listen to the movie. The songs that are in the movie are better than the ones on the album, but hey, whatever. And then really I want to talk about Into the Wild. This got a lot of votes on Facebook.
Oh.
Into the Wild is obviously based on the story of Chris McCandless, who was the man that got kind of fed up with his life and went and lived in the Alaskan wilderness and ended up. I'm not going to ruin the movie for you, but
I already know how it ends. I know he
he-
dies.
We're talking to the audience. We don't want to
Spoilers.
ruin. For
Well, Andrew just ruined it. He dies.
Spoilers.
But it's a story about self-discovery. He was really sick about his life, and so he wanted to go as completely off the grid as possible. And the movie and the story, the book that was written about it, which is what the movie's based off of, is about the diary that he kept while he was in the wilderness about his experiences, and that's how they were able to come up with the story.
Emil Hirsch is in it. I believe that's who plays him.
Yes. Emil Hirsch plays Chris McCandless.
Yes.
But the entire album for the movie was done by Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, and it's an
Yes.
acoustic. It's really really good.
It's a beautiful movie in terms of cinematography.
The song
and the
"Hard
soundtrack.
Sun" by Eddie Vedder is one of my favorite Eddie Vedder solo songs. Is on there. Big hard sun. It's a great song. You should listen to the album though. It's really great. And Andrew's Snapchatting.
I just
I'm
watched him.
responding to the Snapchat Meg sent me of her recording, so it's only fair.
That's true. I did send one.
Love it.
Mm.
Yeah, but I was a little more sneaky about it. Andrew,
Yo.
what are your last few?
last few. All right, I'm gonna say, well, just a real quick mention because it was something I just thought of while we were talking. Was the soundtrack to Tron Legacy? Remember that, like
Ooh.
that OK Tron movie that came out like early 2010s?
I don't think I ever saw it.
It was okay. Movie.
It's a Disney movie, first of all.
Yes.
Which is the weirdest thing, because if you watch it, you're like, this isn't a Disney movie. But Disney actually has a whole theme ride after this movie.
They do.
Yes.
That's true.
But I was just that whole soundtrack is all done by Daft Punk. Crazy
Oh,
cool
yeah.
stuff.
Ooh, sick.
So if you want some fun like electronic, make you feel like you're stuck inside a computer music, go listen to that shit.
Nothing better.
One more time.
Yes, except that's not on this soundtrack.
I know, I
Although
don't care. I love
Daft
that
Punk is
song.
amazing. But the two I'd
Oh, yeah. All right. Stop the dancing.
I love this.
yes,
One more time. I'm sorry. I love that
okay.
song. I'm going to listen to that on my ride home.
fair enough. All right, but the other two I would say both Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yes.
because both of those soundtracks are amazing. Like Awesome Mix Volume 1 and 2 are just like they fit the movie so well. The weird like somehow like vintage yet futuristic theme,
Yep.
like retro futuristic themes of the movie, and like how those like songs are like curated into the scenes. Like when I'm just looking through like the track list for like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, which I probably haven't watched in like a year, I can still like almost remember where each one of these songs
Every
is
scene.
happening in the movie.
Yep.
To the point where like after I saw the movie like 3 or 4 times in theaters, when I went and bought it on DVD or Blu-ray, I got the little bonus like bundle where you get the soundtrack CD with it, which I still have the CD in my car, maybe. If not, it's like at my house.
Well, I know what we're bumping if you do have it on the ride home.
Yes, because I'm Meg's ride home. But
Yes.
but like I love both the soundtracks of those movies. I just love like all these old 80s to like early 80s to like mid 70s like pop songs. I think they just work very well with the characters, the scenes, like there's
I gotta
songs.
listen to these because there were so many people that were like, you need to listen to those.
Have you
They're
never-
incredible?
Have you never listened or seen those
I don't
movies?
like superhero or like comic book themed
Oh,
movies.
Mike, you would love Guardians of the Galaxy.
I really I've
can-
tried. Okay.
Ah, really?
The only one I ever liked was The Dark Knight. This is the
Okay.
only one I've ever liked.
I mean, to be fair, it's probably one
But
of the best ones out there.
The
but
soundtracks sound incredible.
It's-
So
the
I need
soundtracks
to.
are awesome. But, like if anything, I'd recommend checking them. Chris Pratt's in
Yeah.
it, Dave Bautista's in it, Vin Diesel is technically in it, Bradley
Mhm.
Cooper's in it,
Zoe Saldana, or however the
I
fuck
can-
you say her last name.
her. Because I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to botch her last name. So.
It's okay. I'll if I said it wrong, I apologize. She's still a queen, and I love her. But yeah, that soundtrack is amazing. Like the opening credits, like songs that they do when they open the movie. Like you're already sitting there, and you're like, all right, this is about to fuck. Like you know it's gonna be good just by the opening one that they choose.
Oh yeah, it's like I just love the soundtracks. I think they just fit everything. Like they're like
They
the
got-
proverbial icing on the cake to what is already a pretty solid movie.
Let me pull it up and list a few off for you, Mike Miller.
Well, I have them right here. Do you want me to do that, Meg?
Actually, you know what, Andrew? Go for it.
Okay, Meg. So for the least Awesome Mix Volume 1 from First Guardians of the Galaxy, it has Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Suede. Suede?
Suede.
Thanks. Go All the Way by the Raspberries, Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum, Moonage Daydream by Bowie, Fooled Around and Fell in Love by Elvin Bishop, I'm Not in Love by 10cc, I Want You Back by Jackson 5, Come and Get Your Love by Redbone, Cherry Bomb by the Runaways, the Pina Colada Song by Rupert Holmes, Ooh Child by the Five Stair Steps, I don't know who they are, and Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye. And then
If you think Awesome Mix Volume 1 is good, Awesome Mix Volume 2.
you can start off with Mr. Blue Sky by ELO, which I have a huge soft spot for ELO. Fox on the Run by Sweet. Lakeshore Drive by Iota. Don't know. Something Iota. Haynes Jeremiah. Oh.
Oh.
The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke.
Ugh.
Southern Nights by Glenn Campbell. My Sweet Lord by George Harrison.
Ah,
Easy there, killer.
so good.
Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass.
Shout out to Pat.
Come a Little Bit Closer by Jay and the Americans. Wham Bam Shang-a-Lang by Silver.
Wham, bam, dang a lang, and oh nine. It's so good.
Surrender by Cheap Trick. Father and Son by Cat Stevens. Flashlight by Parliament. And then it's like an original song for the movie. But
Wow.
still. Like,
Guardians Inferno. That's the name of the original
Love
song.
that.
Yes, it is.
The Transformers movies also had great soundtracks as well. I didn't
Terrible
even think
directing, though.
terrible. Michael Bay.
Fuck you, Michael Bay. I don't like
Fucking
you.
Michael Bay.
Ruining all my favorite childhood
That first
TV
one though with
shows.
Megan Fox. Yup.
Well, the first
Yup.
I thought the first Transformers movie was like kind of cool because like nothing like it had been done before. I'm like, okay, cool. There's some big robots. There's some fighting. There's some
Yeah.
explosions.
Megan Fox in that movie is definitely when I knew I
They
would
had
be
they had
heterosexual
Green Day in
forever.
those movies.
Yeah,
they
like,
had
you know,
Linkin Park in those
Like,
movies.
you know, there was like hot chicks and fast cars and stuff and explosions. You're like, okay, cool. But
Yeah.
then there's like 5 more of them, and you're like, okay.
And then they did it like what they did with Shrek. They kept beating a dead horse, and I was getting sick of it. I remember sitting, I think it was like Transformers 3. I went to the theater to go and see it just because like I've already seen the first 2.
Well, they changed the girl in every single movie too.
Right. So
Yes.
I sat down and I was just
And
like,
they got
wow.
rid of Shia after like the second or
I
third
know.
movie too.
I was like, this is the most cliche Michael like Bay film I've ever seen. And I was like, that's a classic Michael Bay shot. That's
Yeah,
a classic.
there's
Like,
the-
can you,
you
try
gotta-
anything a little
You
different?
gotta have
like,
the lens flare. There's an American flag in the background,
there's a girl in short shorts with like long blonde hair. I'm like, come on.
and then
get-
somewhere there's like a can of Bud Light like resting on the
Yep.
hood of one of the Transformers
They
because you
do-
gotta have that sweet product placement.
Big panoramic views with like Optimus Prime just chilling there contemplating life. Like, fuck off. I'm sick of it. Give me something else, Michael Bay. Come on. Make it worth my while.
Especially because, like, you know, truth be told, like, as a huge dork who loved watching Transformers as a kid, like, there's so many cool stories you could actually do with Transformers if
Yep.
you really wanted to. But, like, you didn't. You just needed to make it all big fucking action fest. Like, save that for fucking, what's the one where they have the big robots and they fight monsters? Pacific Rim.
Yes.
Save that for, like, Pacific Rim because there
He
doesn't...
did Pacific Rim too, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know.
No, I don't think
I
Michael
have
Bay
no
did
idea.
Pacific Rim.
Let me check. But
But there's going to be a new Bumblebee movie, like a standalone Bumblebee movie.
it's not by Michael Bay.
That's not by Michael Bay.
And like the Optimus Prime looks like the old 80s cartoons Optimus Prime,
Yes.
which kind of like
I think they
tickles my
use the
fancy.
same voice actor though, because it sounds really similar. But I
wouldn't doubt
watched
it.
the
He's been
trailer.
Optimus Prime in a couple of like other versions of Transformers.
I watched the trailer. It actually looks,
It's all about Bumblebee.
yeah, it's all about Bumblebee and how he got here.
I'd fucking see it.
Yeah, so I think it's finally a Transformers movie that I can get
I'm
behind.
still skeptical, but
It's like right.
Dude, you can't tell me the first one wasn't fucking fire.
The
though.
first one was
Oh,
great. The first
so,
Transformers
Pacific
was
Rim
great.
was Guillermo del Toro.
No way.
Really?
Yeah. Which
Oh.
makes sense now that I think about it. It's a monster movie.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, do
This is
we
the greatest eye roll I've ever seen in my life. It's like,
Oh well.
do we want to list off what everybody else then?
yeah. So we're at the part of the show everyone's fucking sick of listening to us. So you're gonna listen to me a little more.
Sorry, but
buckle
we're
up,
not
buttercups.
sorry.
All right.
You
Here
subscribe.
is the full blown list of fucking movies that everyone blew up my social media with. I'm gonna read them in order that they were suggested to me.
You got this.
Here we go.
We're ready.
Godspeed.
And this was done across 4 different social media platforms:
True facts.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Holy free holidays.
Yep. So here we go. Forrest Gump.
Yep.
P.S. I Love You. Juno, which we didn't even really talk about.
No.
Juno fucking rocks.
Yeah, Juno's a great soundtrack.
That is a great soundtrack. The Parent Trap, another really good one.
Banger.
Dazed and Confused, Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Yep.
Baby Driver, Guardians of the Galaxy, Inception, The Faculty, which I gotta look into that. There was a story on that one. American Pie, This Is the End, Almost Famous, High Fidelity, Empire Records. Let me clear my throat. Now and Then, which if everyone knows, I knew this right off the bat. My friend Kayla suggested this one. Now and Then is the modern version of Romeo and Juliet. It's the one with
Yes.
Leo DiCaprio.
Yep.
Fucking fire movie, right?
Yeah, it's really
It was
good.
wild. I remember watching that in a creative class in high school, and I was like, "This fucking rocks."
Yeah, it's good.
You know, we went over it during the Shakespeare part. So Now and Then is great. 10 Things I Hate About You. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Boogie Nights.
Yes.
Singles, which was the all grunge album one about the grunge scene in Seattle. Really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Into the Wild, Remember the Titans, Pretty in Pink, Center Stage, She's the One, which is an entire album done by Tom Petty.
Yep.
Queen of the Damned, Young Guns 2, Apollo 13, Out of the Furnace, the movie Michael, the movie Mulan, and Space Jam.
We can also probably mention The Breakfast Club too. No one mentioned that, but
The Breakfast Club. Yep. I also there's another one I forgot to put on here was the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack.
yes.
Which was also I remember that being a really good
Yeah.
one.
Was Pretty in Pink on there?
Pretty in Pink was on there.
Pink
Yep.
was on there.
Pretty in Pink was on there. So I wanted to give a shout out to everyone that was hit me up on all of the social media platforms. I'm gonna read your names because I fucking love you.
Love you.
So here we go. Shout out to Christy Grace, Sarah Mancini, Johnny Driscoll, Lynette Davis, Missy Peralta, Cameron Smith, Tyler Chase, Julia Ivy, Bob Berman, Aaron Harper, Matt Malinowski, Kayla Addington, Tim Britt, Ryan Dedian, Jill Schindler, Amy Sheldon, Ryan Panett, Cricket Paulson, Nikki Goulakis, Yolanda Greaves, Matt Croto, Eric Giancola, Micah Cummins, Jimmy Kerwin, aka Trivia Jim, I have Matt Croto twice. Matt Croto, I love you. Shout out to Croats. Taylor Hisgrove, my best friend, Carly DeCoco, Alyssa Silverston, Joey Sullivan, Jordan Dottore, Lily Asachek, and Christina Lango, Tina Tots.
While you were saying all of that, I forgot to mention one of my favorite movies of all time that I hadn't seen until my roommate told me that she had the movie, David Bowie's The Labyrinth.
Oh, yeah.
He did the whole soundtrack,
How did
and
we forget about
every
that? Jesus
every
Christ.
time Magic Dance comes on when I work at Spencer's, I make everybody sit there and I make them watch as I dance around the whole store, and I'm like, dance, magic dance.
Good
That's
Lord.
a great. That's a
Magic
great.
Sorry to all of our
Dance.
Bowie fans out there that we
That's a
forgot
weirdest fucking.
I know.
movie
I got
ever.
a fucking Bowie tattoo, and I like Labyrinth right over my head. How
Yeah.
fucking dare I?
Yeah,
first
Labyrinth.
of all.
Labyrinth's a really good one.
You remind me of the
But
babe.
shout out to all those people. I fucking love you. Thanks for supporting the podcast.
Yes, mad shout out.
Big
to all the
thanks.
We're big fans.
We love you
We're
all.
big fans of you as well as I hope you're big fans of us. Thanks for
Yes.
listening. So shout out to all of you. I hope you've stuck with us while listening. Now, I wanted to end this on a tribute note. We're recording this on October 2nd, 2018. It has been 1 year since we lost Tom Petty to an accidental overdose. And I just wanted to, he's been on my mind all day. I was listening to Wildflowers all day, which is my favorite Tom Petty album and one of my favorite albums of all time. So I just wanted to give a huge shout out to him. He's, I think, been a big thread in my life. His music has made many memories in my life. So
Yeah.
I'm getting teary eyed thinking about this. But
Yeah, you're literally sitting here talking, and I can't look at you because like I can feel tears coming into my eyes. I'll never forget getting the text from Andrew the day that he died, and he found it on Reddit, and it was right before it was like unconfirmed. You know, when he was like going to the hospital. I cried in my bed for like 45 minutes.
yeah,
I
just seen him. I saw him last July in concert.
I still can't talk about it. Like
he-
it's
Yeah, it was. I mean, I
a year without Petty, and it's still fresh.
I remember being a kid and listening to Full Moon Fever with my dad.
Yep.
And he's just one of those guys. He's created some of the greatest American rock and roll songs ever.
Absolutely.
And I just don't know what I would have done in life without his music.
Yep.
You know, like the amount of music of his that I love and cherish and listen to all the time still is
All of
incredible.
it.
And I got to see him last summer. He played a show with the Heartbreakers to celebrate their 40th anniversary, and he still fucking had it. He played all the great hits, and he played some really, really deep cuts, which was really cool to hear. And Joe Walsh from the Eagles opened up the show. Also, the writer of the greatest song, Funk 49.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh fucking rules. But it was really, really incredible to see Tom Petty after loving his music and worshiping him for many, many years. And I think I'd be remiss if we didn't fucking mention how, if you're listening, Tom, somewhere in the great big sky, I hope you are resting easy. I love Tom Petty.
You know, he's
So,
jamming up there
Absolutely.
with George and stuff. He's
jamming me.
he's having a great time. We miss you every single day.
Yes. I'd like to make a quick shout out as well to a lot of, I know it was me and Meg both love the Sheepdogs, and to any of our friends, and if for whatever reason the band themselves listen to this, shout out to their drummer Sam. He is currently taking a leave from the band to battle cancer.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
He said it's good. They caught it early. It's a very high survival rate, like 96%. He's just taking a couple shows off so he can recover and such. So, shout out and prayers and everything to them, our boys up there in Canada. Speedy
Absolutely.
recovery to Sam.
Absolutely. We love you, buddy.
Wow.
I know.
That's heavy.
We're ending on a heavy note, but we want to thank you guys for sticking around and listening to us, and also thank you again for contributing to this week's episode. We really appreciate it.
It means a lot to us, and we hopefully will hear from you guys again soon.
We're gonna do this again. I think this is gonna be a regular segment.
Yeah.
We got to start reaching out about stuff and
Yes.
And
getting
don't be
people
shy.
involved.
Like, I know we asked this time, but like, send us new music. We've talked about this before. Send us what you're listening to. Send us what you think you want us to hear.
And we do. I've gotten. I mean, I should give some shout outs. I get one of my really good friends, Carly, who I've met through going to concerts. Her and I just send music to each other all the time. She sent me a song that I put on my weekly Diamonds, which I haven't done in a while. I'm sorry, guys, but she sent me this musician named Ryan Montbleu, and I got really fucking into him. And so shout out to her for showing me his music.
We'll do
which
a
is
thing.
awesome.
Every time you guys send us stuff, we'll give you a shout out at the end of the episode while we're doing the credits. And,
Absolutely. Ideally, try to DM it to our podcast page, because then all three of us will see it.
Mhm.
You know, if we get it, maybe you don't follow the page or whatever, maybe you're not on the social medias a lot. You can text us if you have our numbers, or email us, or what have you.
Oh yeah, you can find us anywhere at podcast.
A lot of
on the
ways
Sky
to
with
get in
Diamonds.
contact with us. So we appreciate any DMs of cool bands, cool artists, whether it's your band, your friend's band, your cousin's band, your dad's band, your
We
mom's
love
band.
it. We love listening to new
Your
music.
dad's mom's band.
And
Yeah.
Mike and I were
Family
saying
band.
that, you know, when we went to Mount Joy, he was like, have you listened to the opener? And both me and Allie, who came with the show to us, who's shout out to her, Mount Joy's the foundation of our friendship. So it's very near and dear to us.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
We had a good time at that show.
So we didn't listen to the opener, and I never listen to the opener of shows we're going to because I like to be surprised and I like to experience new music live. So for us, it's just it's a treat. It's a thrill. We love it. Send it our way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it.
Yep.
That's
so,
the show.
yeah, so thanks a lot for tagging along through this music-filled soundtrack episode, guys. It's been a blast. We'll
And
see y'all again in a couple weeks.
fucking turn our podcast off right now.
Yep, all right. Good night.
We love you guys.
See
Have
ya.
a great night.
Stay safe.